birthday, happy belated birthdays in the past, happy future birthdays in the future. My name is Lime Green, and boy do I have a tier list for you today. So I came out of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and I was like, boy, that was a good video game movie. And then I went to the Minecraft movie, and I'm like, that's a good video game movie. And then I went to the Until Dawn movie, and I'm like, that's a good video game movie. And I'm like, are video game movies really all that bad? Were they just poo-pooing them and saying, oh man, video game movies, they were all bad back then. So, plus with the added effect, video game movies, they're going to be the new comic book movies. I just feel that they got the Fallout show, they got the Last of Us, they got Castlevania, and plus, video game, they're like a whole medium. Comic books, they're a medium too, but you're not going to be able to watch all video game movies pretty soon. You can do it right now. I feel like it's physically and humanly possible. Let's jump into the rules to see how it is humanly possible. We're only talking about the live action video game movies, not the animated ones, because that would probably double, triple, quadruple the workload. Why? Because we're talking about Pokemon, Final Fantasy, they got the Animal Crossing ones, there's a whole bunch of video game anime. They got the Mario movie. I kind of hated I had to do that too, because I want to rank the new Mario movie in the tier list, and I was like, alright, I guess I can't talk about it, but it's pretty up there. Now, what do I mean live action video game movies? I'm talking about video game movies that are based on a video game. So, Pixels, it has Donkey Kong. It has Pac-Man. Yes. It has Galaga, I think. But it's not specifically based on a video game. The Wizard, yes, it has Mario 3 and the Power Glove. It's so bad. But it's not based on a video game. Dead and Deader, for those that don't know, that's House of the Dead 3, or it was, and then it slowly morphed into a different movie. Hopefully that all makes sense. I'm trying to go on specific list websites and be like, alright, what's a live action video game movie? And I get whole bunches of different varieties of suggestions, and they're like, hey, this is a video game, and I'm like, that's not even a video game movie. So I have my own standard of what it is. Rule 2, I will try and take into consideration all points of contention. My thoughts, the general impact, and opinions of everybody. A lot of people did not think a lot of these movies had a lot of impact. So I'll be trying to pull them up a lot of tiers and try and convince you all that some of them are not good. The music is from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, specifically because there is a live-action Zelda movie coming out soon. And also, I'm not a film critic. I gotta slide that in there every single time. Jump back to the tier list. I love to start with the last movie that came out, because I value legacy. And we're only talking about 15 movies in part 1. Random 15 movies. Because why not? I didn't want to make this a million hours long. And the last video game movie I have seen that released was Until Dawn 2025. My notes on it. I have notes. This is a very professional tier list. So what I thought was, it was a good movie. Not good Until Dawn movie. Now what do I mean by that? I've seen a couple playthroughs of Until Dawn. I like it a modest amount, but Until Dawn, the movie, was alright. It had some elements of the movie, or of the game. It had the Wendigo. But if you did say this was an Until Dawn movie, I feel like it would have been better off. That's another thing I will rank these movies on. On how well they represent the game itself. But I don't want to have that be the the end ranking. Movies can be good, or video game movies can be good without being oh man, this is all about Until Dawn. I felt like it was very Happy Death Day, but kind of something else. It was Happy Death Day with a little spin on it. I liked it. I liked it, but like I said, it wasn't very Until Dawn-y. People did not like it very much. I feel. Also, the end was kind of dumb. For some reason, they had exploding water, and if you drank it, you just blew up. It was foreshadowed pretty well, but that was just dumb. I am going to put it, for ranking it by game merits, I'm putting it down here. I'll split the difference. Put it here. That's a good middling ground. Until Dawn movie. Now, the movie that came out before Until Dawn, Minecraft 2025. Chicken Jockey. A lot of people, I feel they missed the point of the Minecraft movie. They're oh man, this movie is just all memes, But I will say it doesn't take itself seriously on purpose, It knows what it is. It knows it's the Minecraft movie. It knows its fans. And, it slipped in the Herobrine thing. It slipped in the thing for Technoblade. It slipped in all those other Minecraft creators at the beginning. What else is there to really say about it? My notes are just Chicken Jockey, the Nether, Flint and Steel, Water bucket. Release. I would put it one of these. Just because how well they knew and cared for, like, the game itself. Now you can say, like, the animation style is kind of like, could have been better. I agree. So I'll put it in Charizard tier, actually. Minecraft the movie. Alright, now before Minecraft, Sonic 3. This script was written in gold ink. This is when my notes got, like, really, like, complicated. There's the Detective Pikachu joke in this movie, which I feel like I get it, They're referencing Detective Pikachu, the movie. People said video game movies really popped off after Detective Pikachu. But it could have been worded better. Like, why Detective Pikachu specifically? Tails isn't even wearing a hat. Why not just Pikachu? I looked into it, and they're not even, like, owned, like, the movies themselves, the movie companies, they're not even owned by the same people. So I don't, that would be a reason why they use Detective Pikachu. But I don't know. The wholesome Sonic sections, I like them, but I could have seen a timeline where people would be like, oh man, too wholesome for me, People would be like, oh man, too many kiddie sections in my Sonic movie? Something like that. Casper appears in this movie. Team Sonic. Sonic 3 is like the epitome of, like, catering, giving all the love to the fans. I put Stone and Sonic teaming up is peak. Maria and Shadow's backstory is peak. Why did I put that twice? Peak twice. Kind of like Mewtwo-y. Again, I didn't know or I didn't know too much about, like, the whole Maria Shadow thing. I like how even 3 movies in, they find ways to include Tom and Maddie and make them useful. I thought, like, by the second, third movie, they'd be like, hey, Tom would come over and be like, hey, Sonic, how's it going? But Tom, Donut Lord, is really integral to the story. I also said, if they killed off Tom, I will have gone wild. The Supersonic fight goes bananas. And what was that note? Dr. Eggman fight less so. Oh, the Dr. Eggman fight versus Gerald Robotnik. Then they have Live and Learn. The post-credit scene with Amy and Metal is really crazy, especially because Amy hasn't appeared in a Sonic movie. I feel like that's, like, especially crazy. Sonic 3 is, like, how you do fan service in a video game movie, and how you interpret video game to movie. I feel just for that, that's our first chicken jockey. Why does it look like Alright. Sonic 3. Okay. Now, the movie I saw before Sonic 3... the movie that released before Sonic 3 that I have seen is Sonic 2. Came out 2022. I have to shout out when the people that make Sonic movies, they paid Matt Pat to make a theory on GT Live just off of like one trailer. That was like the funniest thing. Robotnik's whole outpost on the Mushroom Planet was great. There's the Mean Bean Coffee. Again, there's like all sorts of like little references just for the fans. Knuckles and Robotnik teaming up as a neat callback to Sonic 3. Also, I have to like call out, we have 3 movies and a Knuckles show. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I like I like Sonic trying to be superhero. Tom and Sonic play well off each other. Knuckles is a force of nature in this tavern scene with Sonic and Tails could have done without tavern scene with Sonic and Tails could have done without feeling like the first movie. So the first movie, there's like a big bar fight, what I'm talking about. In the second movie, there's like a tavern scene, and I feel like it's just kind of treading the same ground. The world's expansive, and they could put Sonic and Tails anywhere. They just put them in another like tavern bar location. I kind of didn't like that. And then they're like, "Hey, we have a dance battle, or else we'll throw you in the fire." And I feel like if they even kind of got close to Sonic and Tails, that you'd just run away, Am I wrong? I don't know. The wedding scene is wild, and I like the movie reminding you at the beginning Sonic can't swim, and at the end he is running across an ocean to the island, going underwater to save Knuckles. The traps in the temple are very reminiscent of the games. Master Emerald Robotnik is good. The auto-tune voice is a little kooky. The supersonic part really showcases his power. Oh wait, I skipped a movie. The supersonic part really showcases his power. Sonic 2 I don't like really as much as Sonic 3. Do I like it as much as Minecraft? I like it. I'll put it in Charizard tier, actually. And then we'll talk about the movie I skipped over for some reason. But Sonic 2's alright. I feel like I would sooner watch Sonic 1 or Sonic... I feel like I would watch Sonic 3 more than Sonic 2 or 1. Now, we skipped over FNAF 2023. I think it's like the reverse of Until Dawn. FNAF is not a good horror movie, but a great FNAF movie. Wow, Until Dawn is a great horror movie, but not a great Until Dawn movie. There's a lot of cupcake in this movie for some reason. It's a combination of FNAF 1, 3, and a little sprinkling of 4. William Afton kind of acted weird when he was in the Spring Bonnie suit. Vanessa also acted a little strange when she was on screen a lot. And then the explanation given was, "I was just warning you in my own special way." People theorize, she's like a robot. I don't know. We're going to find out here when FNAF 2 releases later this year. FNAF, again, this was made mostly for the fans. And the fans loved it. And would I see it over Minecraft and Sonic 2? Yeah. But there's a lot of little things in FNAF. Like, alright, look at that journal he's reading. It's called Dream Theory. That's a popular thing in in the FNAF community, especially FNAF 4. They think, the whole thing is like a dream. And then there's like, hey, look, what else is in the FNAF movie? There's like how popular FNAF YouTubers also in this. Matt Pat's wearing a Nest little name tag. There's references to the books. And what else is what else is in this? Oh, and at the end credits, it's Living Tombstone, which is a FNAF fan song, which is like, whoa, that's crazy. That is crazy to me. Before Sonic 2 is Uncharted 2022, which I watched for the first time a little bit ago. I thought Tom Holland, because that was like a big debate. They're like, Tom Holland is playing Nathan Drake? I thought he would just be playing a younger Nathan Drake. But it's not. I understand why everyone was freaking out now. Sully is also super weird. I see him as like a uncle, kind of mentor guy. He and Nathan kind of go back and forth a little bit. Which I get. You can't really expect him to click right away as thieves, even in the game. But still, I said the action and environments are still really good. There's also like a little Easter egg as like the voice actor for Nathan Drake. He's like chilling on a beach. Little things for fans in this movie. A lot of like action and elements from the games are like 1-to-1 in Uncharted. Apparently there's supposed to be a sequel. It's alright. I'll say it. This is the first alright movie. Does it deserve to go down here? I don't want to put it down there. I'll put it like in the same tier as Until Dawn. I'll put it sorry, Uncharted. Wait. Oh man, this is hard. Uncharted. Oh man. I have to do it. Oh man. Alright. We have to move on. No, wait. Like, I know what's coming up next, and I'm like looking at this, and I'm like, oh man. Alright, I'll put this here just because like there's so much like love and attention, while Until Dawn it's like so much goodness in being a horror movie. That's how I'm justifying it. Alright. Okay, so before Uncharted It's 2020 Sonic. The original Sonic. I remember the original Sonic Backlash and the conspiracies of it. People thought, the original Ugly Sonic was like all planned, and first of all, that's crazy. That's crazy how that's even a conspiracy. People also didn't like the inclusion of like Longclaw and his whole backstory. This is the Sonic movie with Baby Sonic, and people were like, "Oh man, way to jump on the train for Baby Yoda." And, there's a lot of stuff Sonic had to contend with in this first movie. But it was pretty respectful, all things considered. It had, the place be called Green Hills. They had the Sonic meme. Robotnik having hair and shaving it at the end and then growing out his mustache. That was a great mix-up, I have to say. It was worth the wait. I also said it's very smartly written to ground Sonic as a speedster, because he can't just run to San Francisco, because he just doesn't know where it is. And I said the bar scene, which I didn't like in Sonic 2 very much, is what elevates this movie past the usual, animated buddy movie. It's also kind of like a road trip movie. And then I put Olive Garden Zone, because that was like a meme after this movie came out. Sonic 2020. I'm going to put it in Charizard tier, actually. Because it's not, like, crazy. This is, like, the crazy tier. But this is, like... This is, like, the, pretty good tier. This is, like, the... Alright. Now, Detective Pikachu, 2019. First off, I have to acknowledge the one video called Poke-Apocalypse by Mega Steak Man specifically, which came out like years and years before this even came out, which has the actor who plays Agent Stone in the Sonic movies as Ash. And just the vibes of Poke-Apocalypse is so reminiscent. Or, I guess you would say reminiscent. Reminiscent, but in the future of Detective Pikachu. That it's so crazy, so dark and like city-like. And I don't even know how to describe it. You just gotta watch it. My notes on this are pretty good. Some stuff like Pikachu mind swapping takes me out of it. This movie teased Dynamaxing before Dynamaxing. I like the scene that was just like the Macy's Day Parade. And Ditto was cool, and just like hanging out, seeing the Pokemon in the wild, and in the city was cool. Kind of like the Sun and Moon concept art with the Blastoise fire truck. This kind of, again, like ushered in like all these good movies here. Saw it in theaters, have to say. Own it on DVD. Got the Detective Pikachu cards. Again, I don't... It's not a chicken jockey tier, but it's a Charizard. It's a Charizard. Maybe the sequel would... Well, hold on there. I'm thinking, because this kind of like changed everyone's opinion on video game movies. Isn't that enough to knock you up to chicken jockey? Well, now I'm thinking, because Sonic kind of like changed everyone's opinion afterwards. People liked it after. Alright, well. Let me think. Is ushering in a new medium worth going up a tier? I guess so. Okay, and then is receiving backlash and changing your whole movie worth going up a whole tier? I guess so. Okay. Now the movie before Detective Pikachu I saw was Rampage 2018. Rampage is an arcade game from like, I want to say 1980. I don't know, sometime in the 80s probably. I like Rampage, the game, and also the movie. It stars like Monkey and a lizard and a wolf, and you gotta play and destroy buildings. And in the movie, it stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Davis, a primatologist and a special forces soldier, and he and George, you know, the monkey, the ape, you know, he's got to fend off this city from George. No, from Lizzie and Ralph. And, you know, George is kind of knockoff of King Kong. And so they make him albino in the film. Kind of differentiate him. Big thing Rampage changes from the game is like, hey, we're not focusing on the monsters, like destroying the stuff. We're focusing on, hey, this guy, the monster, is fighting off other monsters. You know, I guess that's a big change, but I'm gonna say I'm a Rampage defender. My neighbors actually, they came over one day and they said, have you seen Rampage? It's pretty good. They recommended seeing this movie. That's how good it was. And apparently this is also supposed to get a sequel. I can't even like express like how I like it. It's just like a good monster-y movie, I guess. And there's not really like too many like, oh man, video game reference there. Because, you know, in the video game itself, it's just like you play as a lizard breathing fire on buildings. You know, that's pretty easy to implement. So, I think the best I can do I was going to say Metroid tier. But now I'm like, alright. Well, that movie did make pretty good money. Does that knock it up to... that's Minecraft and Sonic too. Well, we'll stay here. Alright. Movie 10 years before Rampage. Far Cry. 2008. Again, Alright, now, all these other games I've at least played or experienced in some, aspect. Far Cry, I'm just gonna go out on, like, a limb and say I've never experienced Far Cry really to any extent. I know of it, and I've seen, I guess, like, a trailer or two. But the Far Cry movie was super dark. Both actually and, like, super Mortal Kombat deaths and blood for no reason. What I've seen of Far Cry, it's like you're on, like, an island or something. I don't think Far Cry is supposed to be like this. If it is, I'll be kind of surprised. 40 minutes in, and actually starts to feel what I think is a Far Cry supposed to. 40 minutes in, and it feels how I think a Far Cry movie is supposed to feel like. There's a part where they blow up some explosive barrels. I thought, I was like, oh, is that a video game reference? I don't know. There's super soldiers, and the Amazon X-ray calls them vampires. They say they're uncontrollable, but they just do kind of what they want. The music for the fight at the end was super overpowering, and Emilio, he's just like some guy eating like a Subway sandwich. He was the best. He's just trying to eat his meatball sub in peace. So with all that said, and as someone who has barely no knowledge of a oh boy, look at this next movie. As someone barely no knowledge of Far Cry, I want to put Far Cry in Octorok tier. Yeah, Far Cry. You gotta watch it for Emilio. That's like the only thing holding up. Oh, yeah. Alright. Wasn't sure if it was one word or two. Alright, so 2 years before Far Cry, released in 2006. Dead or Alive. DO8, Dead or Alive. So, preparing for this movie, I was like, alright, what is Dead or Alive? I know it's like a fighting game. I know it's like a volleyball game. What is it? And I found out, first off, Koei Tecmo, that video game company? They were originally like two companies. They were Koei and Tecmo. And they made Ninja Gaiden. I was like, what? And that means like Ninja Gaiden stuff could appear in this movie I'm about to watch. I was like, whoa. So I put down two things I want to see. I was like, alright, so I need Ryu Hayabusa and I need beach volleyball. So I said, first 10 minutes, it didn't even feel like a movie. It felt, I don't even know how to describe it. It just kept introducing people and then like flashing to like a bumper. This is a wild movie. Christy, this one girl, she put a guy into a suitcase and the time it took an elevator to open. It was wild. The tournament itself is interesting. It's $10 million, and everyone in it is masters in some sort of fighting style. So I don't know if that's directly lifted for the games or not, but it was interesting to me. The UI in the fights have a health bar and names, but unlike Dead or Alive 3, I did a little research here. Unlike Dead or Alive 3, which was out for years at that time, and Dead or Alive 4, which was probably in development, and they probably had access to the game early, they had like their own during the movie for some reason. Kasumi is here to find her brother, who competed last DOA, but Leon killed him by pushing him off a balcony. The rules clearly state only to knock them out. And Leon is back in this DOA? This is a wild movie. Why would you let Leon back? If the computer guys... This is like very specific notes now. If the computer guys... I was freaking out. If the computer guys are the ones making the matches, and it's a tournament bracket, then how is a fight supposed to happen anywhere at any time? Because that's what the rules said. They said, alright, on this island fights can happen anywhere at any time, and you can knock out the other player and advance to the next bracket or whatever. And there you are. Get $10 million prize. And some people are skilled in boxing, and some people are skilled in wrestling. And the ref fight was really cool. And apparently, you just delay a fight, I guess. The locations are nice, I guess. I put in quotes, do you think it'll work? Of course, I created it. I like how... Also, I found out Ryu is in this movie. But he's like... He doesn't even look like Ryu. They like gave him like a blue shirt. I don't know. There is volleyball in this movie, so I guess I got what I wanted. I said, I like how Ryu is at least considered one of the strongest people, because the plot of the movie is like, we have to analyze the 4 strongest people. Because the plot of the movie at the end is like, Glitzville, 1,000-Year Door, and they analyze the 4 strongest people in the end to sell their fighting data to the government to make like the ultimate weapon. And a big thing about pre-Detective Pikachu movies I'm finding out is it's all about the ultimate, like Captain America, soldier, serum, government, like all those buzzwords just combined together. Zombies. Now this is all caps lock. Honestly, should have been a show with all the DOA like cutaways, bumper things, and then it just ends with a quick montage. And then it cuts away to a week later, and it's the 4 of them. Kasumi, Christy, Helena, Tina, and Ayane fighting like hundreds of ninjas at Kasumi's palace. What does that mean? Why are they fighting ninjas? It just shows they're all together? I guess. Cool. There's a lot going on in DOA Dead or Alive 2006. Again, a lot of cool things. The environments, the fights, I felt like they're kind of like they happen a lot too fast, and that's why I like my idea of just having it as a show. I kind of want to bump this down to Goomba tier. Ryu was there, the volleyball was there, but I don't think it was well represented. Apparently, Dead or Alive is like known for like having awesome graphics, and you can like smash people into like the terrain and the train breaks. There's some of that in here, and I don't know. I guess I'll put. Is that as bad? Oh, Far Cry the movie. Well, that has Amelia. Alright, I'm putting it in Goomba tier. Because then, there's all that the logic stuff. Like, why was there even, like, a question of Leon coming back? Like, spoiler alert, Leon didn't kill Kasumi's brother, because Kasumi's brother ended up being alive. But why would that even be something you should have to worry about? Alright, a year earlier, Alone in the Dark, 2005. It starts immediately. No beginning credits, no nothing. Straight into opening text narration. I look away for a second, and this guy's hallucinating about monsters while dreaming about being at a crime scene, and then woken up by a kid on a plane. This is a wild movie. He gets told he eats too much cheese, then reads the kid's coloring book. And then I wrote, they love slow-mo in this movie. Literally, the only cool thing I remember about this movie in Alone in the Dark 2005 was like there was a point where like they were running through like a fish market, and I think they like shot a gun through like some ice or something. Alone in the Dark was hard to get through. I wish there was a tier underneath Goomba, because I would put it underneath Dead or Alive. It had the same, sort of problem Far Cry had. The bloody, gory type of deal. I'm gonna slide it as far down as I can. But I preferred Far Cry more just because it had some comedy aspects to it. House of the Dead, 2003. I have a lot of notes on House of the Dead. Okay. Really good intro. Good visuals. Good music. The way it incorporates the original game, it like cuts away for a split second and shows the original game as like a jump scare type effect. I thought it was really smart and pretty good for the horror setting as well. There was a moment where they're like, "Where's our friend?" and like super funny, dramatic music builds, and you think it's gonna be a bait and switch, but then she jumps out from behind a tent, and she's a zombie, and slashes their friend's neck. The action music is very techno-y, kinda OG Mad Father. I wrote this one thing. You're not gonna mess with us, are you? Are you? And then the zombie spits in his face. They mentioned The Walking Dead 2 days after the original graphic novel released. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's another government experiment, monster-y type of movie, but at least they're zombies, so it lines up at least a little bit. But they are the most fit zombies you will ever see. They're running and jumping all over the place. The aura they have coming up to the house. They do this thing where the camera rotates around them like a character selection screen. But it takes them an hour to get to the titular House of the Dead. Exploring the zombie lab was fun. The boat captain, Captain Kirk, goes out in the funniest, coolest way. He just pulls out a random stick of dynamite. Blood brings them back to life. I thought that was kind of kooky. I thought in, Alone in the Dark, I didn't like the slow-mo scenes, but the slow-mo scenes in this, they brought a little more impact. The final fight kind of took me out, because he's like a zombie guy who can live forever, but they just chop his head off and crush his head. But House of the Dead, I know people don't like this one, but I thought it was pretty good. I'll defend this movie, actually. This is what I was looking for, like a buried gem. I will actually bump this up to Metroid. I don't think I can use my power to bump it up anymore. I don't think the internet will let me bump it up any further. With its influence. But I think it represents the original game well. It's got a house, and it's got zombies, and it's got, the pew 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 action scenes. Yeah, when you're making a House of the Dead game, you don't really have a lot to go on. You gotta kind of make up your own lore. Like Rampage. Now, the movie before that, Double Dragon 1994. Kind of like DOA Dead or Alive. I was like, okay, I do not know much about Double Dragon. Like, what's going on here? And I found out their names are not Jimmy and Bimmy. The movie itself. This rich guy wants the super special Double Dragon medallion, but when his minions bring it to him, and opens the box, it's obviously just like one. You guys didn't even open the box. Vanna White Purge. Vanna White's in this movie, and it's kind of like the Purge, but for gangs. I thought that was funny. Also, this movie's kind of Power Ranger-y. I thought, kind of like the humor and the action scenes. I also thought they have a GPS in their car. I thought the least they could do is throw some Double Dragon graphics, or like something on the GPS. Like that could have been like a subtle reference. The least you could have done. It's another it's another government soldier type of experiment, type of movie. I swear to you, I'm not sure. They can't keep getting away with it. Power Core is such a generic name, and it's not even from the games. From my research, so you can't even say it's there for legacy reasons. I'm not sure why they went with Power Core. All I really want is a good fight scene where the camera is framed like a traditional beat-em-up. And I'm not sure how hard that would be, but I don't remember them doing that in the movie. So I'm taking points away from that. They use their locations very well, I said. The theater, junkyard, Power Core, Nickelodeon slime place. There's this one part where they're like, this guy's like, "Hey, punks! Special delivery! Airmail!" And then he just like jumps off this like huge thing. And he's dressed like a mailman, and he just jumps at them and falls like 15 feet. And they just like walk away. It's the funniest part of the movie. And then that leads into like a scene that's like straight out of Scooby-Doo, the live action one, where they're like in this little house and all these guys are like punching through the glass and stuff trying to get at them, and they like burst through, but instead of like RVs or motorbikes, whatever those are in Scooby-Doo 1, they're busting out with like boats. I said the villain is cool, kind of like his Super Paper Mario, or just Paper Mario rather, shadowy effect. I just want total domination of one American city. Is that too much to ask for? That's something he says. At one point, there's a Double Dragon game cabinet. I guess there's your Double Dragon reference. Wish there was some sort of build-up for Evil Jimmy, or something to, some characterization or something to differentiate Billy and Jimmy. Shuko dividing up into two different guys was a nice touch. You know, a final fight could have been a little longer and not interrupted in the middle by divine dragon magic. And then I would have liked to see Kunio-kun. Since Kunio has strong ties to Double Dragon. You could argue that Hollywood Boulevard, since it was underwater during the movie, that was a River City reference, I guess. But this was a nice movie. For the time, in 1994, I feel like you couldn't have made a better Double Dragon movie. From my opinion, I've never really played a Double Dragon game. I'm not really a beat 'em up kind of person. I've played Scott Pilgrim. That's pretty much all I've played. But I would put Double Dragon here. No. put Double Dragon here. Put Double Dragon here. Next to Minecraft. Yeah, put it next to House of the Dead. What the heck? Alright, and then the final movie we have is Street Fighter 1994. I said the costumes and actors are top notch. The only ones I didn't immediately recognize were Cammy and Guile. Cammy just needed her hat. Guile needed more hairspray. They call Ryu, and Bison really steals the show. It makes sense why they did Blanka as another government experiment, but more like a Hulk type of figure. Again, this released in 1994, same year as Double Dragon. A lot of little details, like M. Bison's keyboard, are probably references to locations in Street Fighter 2. They could have had at least 1 to 2 more arena fights instead of gunfights. But because you want a more grounded story, as much as you can with Street Fighter, they don't have like Blanka's electricity or Tatsumaki or Shoryuken. Ryu does have the Hadouken pose and a little sound effect plays, but I didn't really see anything. I said this is an underrated gem. Honestly, would I put it here? I don't think that's like legacy stuff. I think that goes here. And that's our tier list so far for part 1. Looking not too bad so far. But what do you think about all these movies? Have you seen them all? Have you seen every single video game movie? Like me. Well, like I will soon have. Who knows when that will be. Join me on this adventure. And let me know in the comments down below what your favorite video game movie is. Until next time, bye bye.